I see that you're a happy learner, 'cause I'm a happy learner, and we are happy learners today. Hooray!
Hi there, happy learners. If you haven't already met me, I'm Miss Jody, and I'm so glad you joined me today. I wanted to share some very important tips for all of you parents out there who are teaching your children at home. There's 5 that I want to share with you. The very most important one is to make sure whatever you're doing with your children, that it is positive. In other words, you want to encourage your children to feel good and to be happy while they're learning. It's very important. So, for example, if there's an assignment that they maybe have been assigned or has been given to them, maybe you want to look at different parts of the day where they're going to be happier doing those things. So you don't want to ask the child to sit down and read a story when it's a time of day where you know that they really need to get out and run. So you always want to be aware of their developmental needs as you are planning your day. Most children, teachers kind of have a sense of this, and we plan our school days accordingly. There's always going to be a break or some kind of opportunities for movement, even if they are opportunities for movement where they're learning. So just bear that in mind. You never want to have your child feel like they're being forced to sit and you're spoon feeding them something to learn, because they're going to hate that. And then in that case, that's the worst thing you could do, because then they're not going to want to learn. They're not going to want to sit down and do that. So if you are, and kids feel different different days. So if your child is tired, if they're hungry, just make sure their needs are taken care of before you ask them to do any kind of learning. So that's kind of that sense and that experience. If you only did that one thing and just make sure your kids are enjoying their learning, and like if you sit down and read with them, that alone is the most important thing you could do. And it will last them their whole lifetime, because whatever feeling they have about learning or reading or whatever activity, that's going to stay with them for a long time. So the second thing that I wanted to mention that also ties in a little bit with the first thing is to meet your child where they are. If you ask your child to do something that's way up here, but your child is maybe way down here, then that's going to be very frustrating. So you don't want to do that. You want to kind of meet them wherever they are, get them to engage on their own level. So the third thing that I want to mention is to model being curious. So what we really want to do, what we want to teach our children, is to be curious and to want to learn and to start asking questions if they're not already asking questions on their own. So if they're not already asking questions on their own, you can model to them, hey, I wonder what this is. Just like if you picked up a story, say, if you picked up this book, you say, oh, I see that, on the cover of this book, there's a caterpillar. And I wonder what happens in the story about this caterpillar, or, what have you. So you can start using those types of sentences. I wonder what is this about? How many do you think? Start engaging them with questions. And then if they ask you a question, then get really excited and encouraged, because that's a really good sign for them. Another thing, it's the number 4 thing, is to be silly. Kids, when you're silly with kids and you can be fun and relaxed and have fun, they're going to be more relaxed and they're going to be having fun. And when kids are relaxed, kids can learn. When kids are stressed, they're not going to be learning. So make sure your children are having fun and be silly and playful. Children learn through play. That's how children are designed. So we want to allow that and embrace that and shape it into something that's positive and good for them. And the 5th thing and the final thing that I wanted to bring up is, remember that your kids need to experiment with things. It's how they learn. It ties in with the playing. They need to move. Don't ask your kids to sit for 2 hours straight. That's horrible. That would be like the worst thing you could do. Let them get up. Let them take breaks. Let them like do a nature exploration as part of their learning for the day, where they can maybe go for a walk in the yard or somewhere outside. Go for like a sound hunt is really fun. That can get them to start using their senses and their listening skills, and like wonder what we hear. Do you hear, sometimes there's a woodpecker, it might be making some sounds, birds in the sky, different, animal sounds are all the, listening for the wind, things like this, to get them to tune in and pay attention. And that way they can still be using their thinking skills and still be able to move around and get some fresh air. And so those are the 5 things that I recommend. Remember, number 1 is to nurture your children's love for learning and make sure it's fun and that they're happy. And number 2, meeting your child where they are. Number 3, modeling being curious. You ask questions and use those I wonder if statements. Number 4, be silly and playful. And number 5, to remember that kids need to touch things, feel things, pick things up, and be allowed to move around. Hi there, my name is Jody, and I'm a teacher for the visually impaired, and I've also been a teacher for children with special needs from all the way from preschool, age 2, all the way up to high school. And I've been doing that for years, and I'm glad you joined me. I'd like to share some of the wonderful things that I have learned with you.
I see that you're a happy learner, 'cause I'm a happy learner.